you doing? Anthony Ferraro here of Create Sci-Fi. Today we're back in the shop making stuff. Now, because I do a DIY sci-fi channel that covers all aspects of creation, we spend a lot of time with scripts and promotion and crowdfunding and special effects, but making is at the core of what I do. And today we're making a dollar store blaster. You know, I love these. And I love that they're easy, very, very inexpensive, $1 to $3 of materials here. And I do these in a day. And as usual, what I do is I'll go into the dollar store with no preconception and I see what's available that day. Today, you know, I have these $2 squirt guns in this saw handle. So let's go over this build. All right, so the first thing I do is take a look at my loot. There's $3 worth of materials there, 2 squirt guns and a saw handle. So now I'm just gonna disassemble this saw handle since I'm not gonna use the blade. And I start to think about how can this go together? Again, this is always something that's in flux, you know, it's as you go. Now I'm gonna take my buzzsaw tool on my Dremel that I love, and I'm going to start trimming down these pieces. And I have a rough idea of what I'm gonna do, but so now I'm just taking off the handle. Usually with these squirt guns, the main thing is I remove the handle because they're for a child. So now when I get that off, I see, right, that angle's good, that fits on there nice. So now it's starting to come together, and I realize if I stack it on the bottom, it's going to utilize the handle the best, and it's also aesthetically, that's how it wants to work. It's going to tell you how it wants to work. So now I'm just taking my sanding drum and I'm smoothing out those rough cuts that I made with the buzzsaw attachment. And now I just test fit everything. And now I got to make these channels so that it fits into the saw blade handle. And these sort of cuts are going to make everything lock in. I've said this a million times, you know, we're putting a square peg in a round hole, so as many little details that you can add that are gonna lock everything together, the better. And now that looks great. So now I feel like, okay, this is how this is gonna work. So now I'm gonna sand this down since I have my shape locked in. And again, I want to clean up these cuts that I made, and then also you want to tooth it up. You want to get rid of the shine so that paint and glue will stick. Then I take some steel wool because there's a lot of grooves and nooks and crannies on these, so I want to make sure I get it all toothed up. Now I mask off the handle because I really like that grippy rubber that's on the saw handle, so I don't want to mess that up. And since I made this big chasm in the top of this squirt gun, I'm just going to take a scrap piece of foam I have around, and what I'm going to do is, you know, put that in the top there just to clean that up. Aesthetically, it cleans it up and the handle will have a better fit. All right, so now I get out my hot glue for this, and I just start filling in any holes from screws, and now I'm going to assemble the piece. I put a generous amount of hot glue on the handle. This is, you know, sticking together pieces that aren't meant to be together, so a generous amount of hot glue is how I get this to work. So now on this bottom piece, again, I'm just gonna fuse that together with some hot glue, let that dry, and then I'm gonna hit it with some primer. I'm going to use some black primer for my base, but I'm also just going to mist it a tiny bit with a metallic because I know I'm going to go with a color on this. So I just want to have that metal base. I put it on a hanger, take it up back, paint it black. All right, now for this, I'm going to go with a purple metallic. I don't know why. And the purple is just too light, so I have this other really rich royal purple that I'm going to mix with the purple metallic. And I just start lightly brushing this on here. It's a little more than a dry brush, but it's a light brush, not a lot of paint, and it just gives that purple hue, and that's looking good. I really like the way that looks. So now I'm going to add some silver detail to this, pewter almost, so the nozzle of the gun. There's a few mechanical details on the squirt gun form that I want to call out with a silver. This I'm dry brushing. And I do the edges a little, and it's starting to look like a beat up gun. So now I have some rub and buff just to hit the highlights. I put a little bit of that on my finger. You just want to use a tiny bit of this, and I just go over the high points, and now I'm going to brown it up, the weathering. I go crazy with the brown here, mostly brown since it's a black base, and I just slather it on the whole thing. A lot of people might not appreciate this method, but I find I get a lot of happy accidents doing it this way. A lot of water, brown paint. I put some black in there because I don't want it to be pure brown. And now my favorite thing, I don't know if I invented this, probably not, but I call it the bloody hand. So, you know, this is a soldier. He got his hand bloodied. And I just put red on my hand, and I just grab onto the hand grip, and then I'll usually just randomly grab the gun somewhere. And I just really like this. I was working on a spear before, and I started doing this, and now I do it on my guns. And, you know, you want to rub that off because you only want a hint of that. And there's the finished piece. I think that came out really good. I like the purple. And this saw blade feels just really good in the hand. I'm probably going to utilize this a lot more. You know, you find something that works and you refine it. Now, as I always say in these videos, my props are not for oogling, right? They're not for the shelf. They're for your film or your web series. Guys shooting stuff, gals shooting stuff, aliens shooting stuff, right? They're just meant, you make it in a day, you go out on your set tomorrow, and there it is. And then if it survives the day, then, you know, you have a bunch of these on your shelf. Well, the only thing left to do now is to fire it up. We'll see what this sucker can do. Whoa, got a lot of kick. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I love to read the comments. And be sure to sign up for the email newsletter. And remember, I'm just here to help make sci-fi with purple guns.